If you haven't had the moment to walk around, if you haven't done that yet, please avail yourself to walk because that's how we're going to get that information. So go ahead and just walk around and see the charts for yourself. I encourage y'all to get up and walk. Come on now. Stretch your legs, get some steps in. Go view those data. That's why it's called the data walk. Thank you. And then give us your feedback. We really need that. Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, we have 5 minutes left. 5 minutes left.
Oh, I know there's a lot of people in there right now.
Okay, we'll have 2 more minutes to walk before we go back to our groups. Okay, if you could please wrap up your conversations around the posters and start heading back to your tables, we'd like to begin the discussion, questions, and audio recordings that would be included in the report. Thank you, everyone. We'll have another opportunity to go around and add content to the poster boards. So there'll be more chances for that. In the meantime, the group discussion. So my colleague Tara has recorders, and we'd like them to serve as the sort of, a source of your voice and your input in this report. So she'll pass out a voice recorder. It'll be on already, so there's no need to press any buttons or do anything with that. It'll stop the recording. So what we'd like everyone to do is to these are just some guidelines, and I know I'll do this anyway, but to listen actively and humbly. If you have a question or a disagreement, try to ask questions of understanding, to share the air, and use I statements. And what we'd like to suggest is that we use a talking circle format for this. My colleagues are coming around with the recorders. We just ask that they start with one person, and then you pass them around in a circle so that everyone has a chance to say something before there's more back and forth. And for you to use these as your guidelines. If you can get to all three, great. If the conversation's really going for one and you want to focus on that, totally fine. We just want to hear, like I said earlier, for the second one, what's your understanding of why things are this way? If there's something that you know best or that only you know, that's what we're most interested in hearing, and would appreciate that. And then what needs to change, this is something that a report that we want, policymakers, people who can allocate resources in the county to see. So your recommendations are to them. And that's the framing for all of this. And this section will take 20 minutes. Do you have any questions at this point?
You just got by as anonymous.
Oh, thank you, Bill. Yeah, and so it's anonymous. We won't attribute any name. On the report and on the website, it would just say a resident of Antelope Valley Communities. And if it's in Spanish, we'll present it in Spanish and with an English translation. So please share in the language you're most comfortable with. And could you also, because we will have a share back after this, if one person from your table could, be nominated or to report back out, that would be great. Just to keep that in mind, that we'll have a large group share out later. So, and of course, if you want to be skipped, if the recorder's passed to you, then that's totally fine. Any questions or anything I've missed?
Maybe we should have one table where everyone's speaking Spanish.
Yeah,
It'll be easier, I think.
sure. Is there,
Is there one place where the majority of Spanish speakers are sitting? Yeah, okay. Because it would be nice to sit all together, so that you don't have to translate, so you can just speak in Spanish. Yeah, okay, okay. So that this table's there, all in Spanish? I think I'm just next for the conversation, if you don't mind.
all right, well, thank you all. These are the questions, and we'll be going table to table if there's anything else that comes up. Thank you all.
Yeah, we certainly want to get.
Briefly, as you're discussing at your table, for those of you who may have arrived a little later, sign in. Don't leave without signing in. QR code that's at your table, scan it, sign in, or sign in with Natalie. She's coming around. So I know a lot of you are in discussion, but came in and you did not sign in. We want to make sure we capture your attendance. Important. So just make sure you do that. And Natalie's going to go around. If you didn't sign in, she's going to sign you in, or you can use the QR code with your phone and sign in. All right, continue to go. discussion. Zoom discussion.
We're gonna come back together about 5 minutes.
And we want one person from each table to share a summary of your discussion, okay? A reminder, so 5 minutes.
Okay. I hate to
end the conversation, but we're gonna move into share out. Wrap up your final comments. I'm Bill. I'm part of the Measure America team, and also thank you all for being here and everybody for hosting. So what we're going to do now is have each table share out like 3 minutes. So 3 minutes, have somebody from each table. There's a mic. Alex has the mic, so you'll be able to share that. And just give us a summary of the discussion. It could be answered any of these questions, reactions. You don't have to answer all of them. Anything that stood out that was maybe, something surprising for the group or something that all of you agreed on. But just get 3 minutes, give us a summary of your discussion. So have a volunteer, a table that wants to go first, right over here. All right, let's hear it for them. All right, no fear.
Hello, good day. Okay, so our table had a lot of similar reactions in regard to the data. I'm sitting currently with, I just want to say like a group of younger people, so I think that may hold into account a certain type of way that they feel. So like the reactions to the data for this specific table was that it's nice to see the data. It kind of stings a little bit to see it in black and white. However, we were talking about now that we see it, it's time to literally roll up our sleeves and get busy on trying to make those changes. We kind of talked about things in education and just those barriers because we fit a lot of what those statistics stated, but on the lower end of that. So kind of we were, I don't want to say infuriated, but it just touched us a great deal. Okay. So what I can say is that our understanding of why these things were simply because we said a lot of the data showed that we're in this race, we're at a disadvantage. Like a lot of the data that indicated that certain areas had higher opportunities of learning or opportunities for access to better living, there was no struggle for them. So we kind of identified that we're literally in the middle of this struggle and we're just trying to figure out ways to combat our situation. What needs to be changed literally is access, physical access, not just on a piece of paper. There needs to be access to allow us opportunities to change. And then there also needs to be mentorship and possibly opportunity to highlight the challenges that we face it and ultimately just uplifting the underdog, letting them know even within struggle that things can get better.
All right, thank you very much. Right here, another volunteer. Thank you very much. All right.
We saw this question, so we're like, where to start?
Anyway, so we'll work with first five and the population 0 to 5. I'm a resident in this community and I have been working this field here and in the San Fernando Valley, which is kind of like the middle LA and us. So the reaction is like, yes, we see it, we own it, but there's no way to solve it for the things that we have right now, which is the accountability principle. Now, what is happening that we see a lot working with families, I'm part of the home visiting program. So we work with our families that that really stay with me the age of our youth that they're stuck in this period because I work with that population. So what gets in the way from what I see is that first, sometimes we see children coming out of high school wanting to get a degree, but it's so expensive. We work with them a lot in reaching these goals. So they get into their student programs, they get their associates, their bachelor, then they go to the workforce, accessing resources for childcare, accessing a job that pays enough to make a living here is not good enough. Then the other thing that we see is that this type of this population in particular, that they were at home either receiving CalFresh and CalWorks, the moment that they start the workforce, all of that gets cut off. So it is a huge gap. So what needs to change? If services can be smoother to access, pay rates in a that's a wishful thinking, better pay rate. And also, a transition plan, a financial transition plan, so they won't get caught up immediately, but to decrease. It's like, I mean, a lot of my agencies for the mental health department, you don't win nobody off like from one this to the other one. There has to be a transition, and we don't see that, unfortunately.
Thank you. All right, give him a hand. Thank you. Over here, somebody want to share? Thank you.
I'm gonna stand because I feel like I don't wanna, I wanna talk to everybody. So we were talking at our table and, well, our first reaction was shock. And then a bit of hopelessness with that because it makes you feel like you're so behind in the race, like they were saying. But some of the understandings of why it's the way it is definitely the lack of full-time employment and opportunities out here because from what I've seen, I've only been here a few years, but from what I've seen, there's only certain industries out here. Okay, so there's the military, there's social work, there's the jails, the prisons, and there's engineering. Okay, the engineers go in and out. They'll do a job for 2 years and then they're moving to Arkansas or something else. Okay, if you're not in the correctional facility or you're doing a parole officer or something, which is very hard work because it's hard on you mentally, right? So not everybody wants to work there. I know I surely do not, right? So there's that. And then there's the military. Most people are coming into the military and they're leaving as well. So that's what I feel like that's keeping the community from being a community because people go in and out, right? So otherwise you would have small business owners, which I love, and I love that out here because there's a lot of small business owners, but they cannot afford to pay people full time. So you're gonna have a lot of part-time work. You're gonna have a lot of nonprofit people who are wanting to help the communities, but they cannot afford to pay people for full time, right? But those are the people that are staying and making the community what it is. So that's why we don't have the income because we're only working 20 hours for whatever it is. And if they're working on grants and funding, and the funding is getting pulled because of whatever different administration comes in every 4 years or whatever, that's affecting us, then that makes us go up and down, right? So that's hurting our community. So that, to me, is what needs to change. Anything else you guys want to add as far as what needs to change?
The youth, the foster youth
Yeah.
in this community, the homeless.
And part of that can be because we don't have the income. People can't take care of their children. They're going into foster care. There's going to be some kind of trickle down effect from you not being able to feed your children to you having crutches of drinking or trying to understand this or having mental health issues and it's trickling down to your family. Right? And then you see that and then you lose your children. And then it's a terrible cycle after that. Any kind of medical issues, we only have 2 hospitals. That's an issue, So you can't find a doctor. It's a whole thing, and that's all because, that's mainly because of that lack of income. If we had the income, we would go to school more. We would have transportation and go to these different things. We would have money to put our children into swim. And out here, all families tend to have more than 4 children. Okay. So you have people out here that have 8, 9 children in one household, right? And so they can't put all of their kids in swim, even if it's only whatever, $60. They can't do that. So then you got the children drowning, right? So all that is happening. So we have to take in consideration our family sizes out here, because we moved out here to have bigger places that we can afford to, keep our children and our family in. But now the housing is going up, okay? And then our incomes are not because we're not in the military. We're not working for the prison. So that's what we think should change, definitely.
Thank you very much. All right, more tables in the back. Not Alex, we'll just hand the mic to a table. Okay. Oh, competition. Okay.
Okay, so I feel that our table focus more on the educational part, on the schools and education. But to begin with, our reaction to the data was sad, frustrating, but we know that is how it is, right? Our frustration in part is that it doesn't, to us, it does not represent the true data. We know that the census really does not represent, especially the unincorporated areas. People just don't respond to the census. They don't answer that. So we know that this works. The way we focus all of this on how to understand it, we focus on education, the lack of educational opportunities. Even if the children go and graduate from high school, most of our kids graduate from high school, but they are not prepared to even hold the simplest jobs. So we need better schools. We need more access to resources, even better management of those resources. Sadly, most of our school districts, they compete from hiring teachers, and then we get to hire the newer teachers. Not all the teachers are not good, right? But a lot of them are newer, they don't have any experience, they are still learning. So districts put so much money on training them and preparing them, and then they leave because they go to a better place where they don't have to deal with children that are dealing with trauma, with nutrition, with unemployment from their families, and they don't have to deal with the weather. Like we have such extreme weather. Like if you go to Lake Los Angeles, it's in the middle of the desert, and children even some days they cannot even play outside. So it's hard to compete like that. We just have one community college. On most of the unincorporated areas, there is no grocery stores, and whatever convenience store available is super expensive. So I feel that we need more resources and better management of those resources, something that actually stays, you know, comes to stay, starting with education, but starting from the bottom, right? We need childcare, we need access for better jobs and other type of preparation, not just going to college, which ideally I want everybody to go to college, but there is other sources also. Anything else?
Thank you very much. Yeah, all right. Let's go to the parking. Okay, you go next.
It's the microphone that makes me nervous. So our reaction, like everyone else, was eye-opening and kind of disheartening because you kind of living here for a long time, you know what it's like, but then seeing data to back it up it's saddening. 3 points that our group hit on is the first is that the data also we kind of think is not as accurate as it could be. We saw that when it came to the rental rates in our area from over the last couple of years, it's drastically different and much less affordable to the average person. One thing that we noticed, or as our understanding of why things are the way they are, is the color gradient kind of really heavily implies that the wealthier areas have higher expectancy. They have a better HDI because of the money they have access to. They have higher access to healthcare and education. So what needs to change is the redistribution of wealth in the area. Having access to small businesses and having funding so that we can have full-time work in those areas. And then having more small businesses allows that money to stay locally instead of going out with accessible shopping like Amazon or Walmart. Another point that we had was the lack of networking between programs and organizations. Something that came up is I've been in the AV for 30 years, and it wasn't until I started working with my organization that I knew just how many programs were accessible. And I'm new. I've been here for a month, and I had no idea the kind of services that are available in the AV. But why? Why didn't I know that? I think if I'm like that, there's other people in the community who are like that.
You.
And
We have one more group out.
can you, is this actually picking up my voice? Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to be reiterating what the rest of the room has mentioned. We noticed that where there's educational opportunities and they're limited, energy potential is a lot lower and life expectancy is also shorter. We know that we're in an underserved area. The data is reflective of that. What needs to change is the awareness and recognition of the resources, like you mentioned, and programs and opportunities that already exist. The only way that we can find out about those opportunities and programs is by coming to groups like this. But especially for our youth, because they're our future and they're the ones that are probably finding a lot more limitations. One of our moms here mentioned that her son just graduated from college and he still hasn't been able to find a job. 6 months, even with a degree. So we need to invest in them. Thank you.
All right, great summaries. Everybody kept to their time. Thank you very much. So we've got lots of great feedback. We want to continue to get that, and we'll close it out soon. But first, we're going to have some more announcements. You want to come up and do the announcements, and then Krishna will come back up and close us out.
All right, thank you so much, Bill. Did you all, we get a lot of great information, and I think it's going to be so beneficial for our CCA and what our partnership is focusing on and propelling us, motivating us to move forward and do something, right? We're going to conclude our portion of this with some learning opportunities that are upcoming here with Best Start. So we have our boarding the bus. Yay, it's back. We're back. Supporting families in the transition to kindergarten. So we're wanting to make sure, again, with education, we want to get our kids ready for kindergarten. So families will become familiar with ways they can support your children developmentally as they prepare to enter kindergarten. We want to equip our family. These are things we need to know. How to develop a better understanding of what it means to be a kindergartner. Or as my grandson said, I did that already. Yeah, but you got to go back, Abel. I did that. Nobody told me I have to do this continually. Yeah, you do. Okay. So reflect on what the transition to kindergarten means to you as family members. So we're going to cover all of this. This will be Wednesday, August 6th from 12:30 to 1:30. And then we'll be here at our All for Kids resource. Okay. Oh, I have this slide. I forgot I had it. Coming soon. Look for this. Our Parent Advocacy Train the Trainer series. We are bringing this to you. So be looking forward to it. We will give you the date as soon as we have solidified a date and a place. You will know, and registration will be open via our link tree. Just want that to be put on your radar, okay? We have a few community announcements. Get ready for the annual backpack giveaway. Woo, woo. It is coming. I know school is starting in August, which is crazy to me, but families register now. You can scan the QR code right here. I believe the flyers are available, so you can grab the flyers over there with Natalie. Oh, Natalie's passing them out. Okay, girl. So that is coming up August 2nd. And then the Ohana Center is having their boots, bibs, and blessing baby shower. Baby's gonna have their boots on the ground and their fans going on. Yeah. Where them fans at? Whoop. Anyway, we're gonna be so. Y'all know I had to put that in there. I was like, oh, okay, get up there. Baby's even getting down with it. Okay, celebrating new life. So those who have newborns or coming in, or you have families, please register for this. Go ahead and scan this QR code. it will be August 23rd, but you have to register. You have to register. So get your phones out if you know of anyone that's interested in being a part of that. Then our summer meals will be continuing till the 31st. For our families that have children, we want to make sure, again, answering some of our data information, like, can we ensure our families, our children are being fed, that they're not going hungry? So these are programs that are taking place here in the Antelope Valley. Lunches that are being served from 12 to 1 p.m. Daily for everyone 18 years old and younger. So those are available, those summer meal plans are available. Again, more children eat free summer meal plans. And these are for the ones in Lancaster. The one previous were for Palmdale, but if you have family, if you live in Lancaster, these are the places that are providing meals in Lancaster. Okay, so take pictures of those, get the QR codes. All right, I'll leave it there for a few minutes so you can take pictures of this information.
Will you also send out the flyers? That's all.
Yes, we will. We will be sending out those flyers. So we want to make sure you have those. You'll get copies of these. All right, ways to support. We are continuing our support in our undocumented individuals who are struggling during these challenging times. We recognize that, and we want to support the community with accessibility, knowing your rights, ways to learn how to take action. So we will continue our support. You notice the sign that was in our window, All for Kids, is supportive of our undocumented population. Okay. All right. Continue to follow us. These are the ways that you can follow All for Kids Best Start on our link tree, our Facebook, all of our QR codes. It'll take you all to our sites. So make sure you subscribe, follow us, Instagram. Before we leave, I'm going to turn this back over to Krista, okay? Because we do have some more information, but I do want to say thank you to everyone for staying and giving your input. Krista, I'm going to turn this back over to you.
Thank you so much, Darrell, and thanks to everybody once again for coming. It means so much to us that all of you are so willing to give your time and your ideas, your thoughts. We hope the report is going to be so much better thanks to your ideas. So we're super, super grateful. There was a comment about unincorporated areas not being well reflected in the data. So we're going to double check that data to make sure there aren't discrepancies there. And so in closing, again, just to thank our partners for bringing you all together, wonderful space, and so much hospitality to all of you. So as we close, if you don't mind filling out the beginning, you filled out one side of a question. If you could flip it over and fill out the second side in terms of, did your feelings about what's most important change during our meeting today? And if you have specific comments that you want to make related to any of the different areas, we still have those big flip charts up. Please go up there. It's kind of like the second part of the data walk, where you might want to add things that you've gotten ideas about during the conversations, or thanks to the report outs and things like that. So I think that's everything else. So, and please, I also feel free to take home some food because there's a lot left. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we have this QR code, so you can follow what we're doing, and we've added to our mailing list and so forth. And again, we're launching the report in January, February. It will be online. We'll have a map that goes with it that will live online, that you'll be able to mouse over and find all the communities. in Los Angeles. We'll make available all the data that we have in Excel form if you want to download it for any of your own work. Yeah, and so that's it. So again, thank you. We're so grateful to you all. Appreciate it.
Just one more thing. Want to get in touch with us? You can email us, and the email goes to all of us.
Yeah, we're a tiny team, so you're looking at all of us but 2 people. So yeah, we'll all get it. Okay, thank you so much.